All right, folks, let's get this party started. Good to see everybody. My name is Coach Micheal Burt. I've got my good friends and colleagues, Mr. Jay Kinder and Stasek here today. And man, do we have something good for you because I think it's going to be a game changer, what we're going to be covering today in this hour and a half, really masterclass on follow-up. And I just wanted to tell you, just as we get started today, a lot of you are in real estate. Some of you are not in real estate. Obviously, I see a lot of our clients. I see a lot of other people here that I do know, or maybe I haven't met you before. But I would tell you during these times, I want you to remember this. There's really going to be three types of people that we see. And those are people who, under pressure, come out swinging and fighting. I hope that's going to be you. And that's what we're trying to get you to do. That's my standard MO. Anytime I have pressure or something tough, I come out fighting. There's going to be people who contract, which we call fleeing. Psychologists would call fleeing. And then there's going to be people who do nothing but freeze and they don't do anything. Okay. Now, Al, these people get to make a decision which one of those three people they're going to be. They're going to come out fighting, which is what we're going to teach them how to do today. Are they going to contract to places of comfort and hope something happens? Or are they just going to freeze and do nothing? And those are really the three types of people. So as we get into today, this workshop is called Follow Up to Millions. And I think what we're really going to do is we're going to bring a higher awareness to follow up. And before we get started, before we kind of introduce ourselves, I do want to ask Jay and Al, when was it that you guys got serious about your follow-up? Because I know when I got serious about follow-up, it was when I wrote the book $1 Million Follow-Up. We now have a book coming out called $1 Million Follow-Up for Real Estate Agents. But I remember it like it was yesterday. I was on a plane. I was being followed up with by people who always try to sell me something. And when you're out in the world, you get a lot of people calling on you. And I just said, man, this is pitiful. The way people follow up is pitiful. And I was so irritated. You guys know I write books when I'm pissed off about something, okay? Or when I'm frustrated with something. That's why I write a book. It's like, this is a big problem. Apparently people don't know how to do it. It's really frustrating. And literally on a plane ride back from somewhere one night, I wrote the book $1 Million Follow-Up, which became one of my best-selling books. We are now bringing that out to the real estate world, $1 Million Follow-Up for real estate. But that's when I made a simple decision to become world-class at follow-up. Okay. And that one decision has helped me generate millions of new dollars. There's still millions left on the table. But Al, when was it that you made a decision that you were going to become a pro at follow-up?
Well, usually there's either two things that make me take action on anything. It's either pain or or an opportunity. And for this one, it for sure was pain. It was too many really, really solid leads. And this is going back about 10 to 12 years when I was heavily, active in the art of listing homes. I learned very early in my career that it was about listings. And I made sure that I spent the majority of my time getting in front of sellers to list their home and help them sell it. And I generated literally thousands of leads. And sometimes it was hundreds and hundreds per month. And it was so many sometimes that, we had things fall through the cracks, and there's nothing more that made me more angry at myself more than anything was when I would, be driving down the street and I would see one of my competitors' signs in a yard of some sellers that I had spoken to, and that I dropped the ball on them and did not follow up after my first conversation. And it was for various reasons. One, just because out of sight, out of mind, I didn't have a system that kept them in front of me. Number two, sometimes it was my ego. I thought I had it in the bag. They're going to call me when they were ready. That ego got my way more than a few times. And it came to a point where I just was fed up. I was fed up with losing. Anybody that knows me a little bit knows that I hate losing more than I actually like winning, if that makes any sense. And so, that drive to not lose out and make sure that I was following up in an effective way forced me, and this is before we met, obviously, to develop my own system of follow-up and even, rebuttals to objections I was getting while I was following up that would help me inch closer to getting them to commit. And I learned a lot from my good partner that's on this call right now, Jay Kinder, as well. And I'm sure he's going to have some things that he can touch on that's helped him at one point sell over 500 homes in 1 year. I think he had his follow-up systems dialed in at that point.
Well, let's take that, and then I'm going to bring Jay in before we kind of each are going to take a segment and teach here today. Is if I showed you, and I almost think I'm going to do this at a speaking engagement. If I want to bring like $1 million of cash in a trash bag, and as I'm speaking, what I want to do is walk over to someone's table and just open it up, and I want it all to fall right on somebody's table and in their lap, and because I really want them to get how much money is really lost by not following up. Okay. And we'll get into statistics today. I am convinced, Jay, that there's really two major problems that we can help people with today and in the future with our book and some other trainings that we're going to invite people to. One is just the awareness to go the distance in follow-up, because we live in a very distracted world. And I can be interested today and lose interest tomorrow if Al said out of sight, out of mind. I coached one of the top real estate agents in South Carolina when I first started, and he said, in the back of every person's mind is a little piece of real estate. And in that real estate, somebody owns that real estate. There's some real estate agent that owns that little piece of real estate. And I always remember, I don't have time for 3 real estate agents or 10. I got room for 1 or 2. I got room for 1 or 2 mortgage originators. I got room for 1 or 2 insurance advisors. I got room for 1 or 2 title people in that little piece of real estate. And the person that has the most frequency is typically going to win. So one problem we're going to solve is frequency and understanding going the distance in the follow-up. And the second problem is the methodology, how you follow up. And everybody on here has got horror stories of people that wanted to buy something, they didn't buy it, and either A, no one ever followed up with you, or B, the way they followed up with you really was more of an irritant than a solution to the problem. So Jay, when you think about those, when was it that you made a decision to get better at follow-up because A, it was costing you money, or you saw opportunity? I mean, you sold 500 homes.
Yeah, it was definitely pain, not pleasure, that got me to see it. It was too many times that maybe I would finally follow up with somebody, but I didn't have a system for it, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I just bought a house, this weekend," or "We just looked at one at open house and wrote a contract." It happened to me just one too many times, and it's incredible to me because I'm in the process of buying a house here in Puerto Rico. And not one of the agents, and I mean, I've probably talked to 10 or 15 in the last year and a half, and not one of them has followed up with me. And they all should have known, if they asked the right questions, they should have known my timeline. They should have known when I was going to be ready to pull the trigger, and they should have followed up. And not one person did. It just amazes me still to this day how much money's being left on the table. We're not talking about a small deal here. I'm buying something, upwards of $4 million. And so, it's incredible to me, how much money is being left on the table. I've experienced it in my own business, and I didn't have the system that you created. I wish I had that, but I had to create my own way of identifying, and learning how to properly follow up and stay in people's lives and stay in front of them and own that little piece of real estate when it came time to do something, that they would think of me instantly and come back to me, or I would be right there waiting for them because I was reaching out to them.
All right. So see, all of us have made this decision to follow up because we believe the fortune really is in the follow-up. And we also want to open your eyes today to that follow-up is not just on a lead. Follow-up is on opportunity. Follow-up is on a strategic partnership. Follow-up is on a past client. Follow-up is on an idea. Follow-up is on potential. Right? When I wrote the book, $1 Million Follow-Up, at first it was just on leads. Like, how do I go back and close leads? The word close means to bring something to an end. The word decide means to kill something off. So just remember that as we teach today. What we're really trying to do is just help you, A, have an awareness of the distance, problem number 1. And if you're not going 7 to 15 touches, number 1, that's problem number 1 that we're going to tackle. And problem number 2 is the correct methodology. Okay. Just remember that many people follow up poorly and they don't know what to say. And so they say things like, I'm just checking in, or I'm just touching base, or I was thinking about you today. And that's really not causing a person to make a decision. So when people say those things to me, I say, thank you. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for thinking about me. Thanks for saying hello to me. Like, I appreciate it. But that doesn't help me make a decision. And that really is the purpose of the follow-up. So before we get started, I do want to introduce all three of us, because we got mixed audiences here. We got some of my audience, some of you guys' audiences, people that don't know us. My name is Coach Micheal Burt. I am on book number 17, and I actually wasn't counting the $1 Million Follow-Up to Real Estate Agents, guys, that we're coming out with. So that's actually book number 18. I've been underselling myself here. I have co-authored with these two guys a new book coming out called $1 Million Follow-Up for Real Estate Agents that is specific to the real estate industry. I was a high school basketball coach for many years. I started writing books at 25 years old and then transitioned at 31 years old out of that to really becoming a high performance coach to some of the best people in the world. My special skill set is helping people find, package, market, and monetize their unique value. And I do that with people all over the world with a very special skill set in activating the prey drive in people, which is their instinct to pursue. And that is around a book I have coming out called Flip the Switch. Okay. And if you get finished with this webinar and you don't follow up better, right, Angela Baker, there's something bad wrong. There, either your prey drive, either you don't have a prey drive or you just don't care, or you just want to give money away. Because I believe after being coached by all three of us today, you're going to want to take more action than what you're currently taking. So Al, give them a brief background on who you are so they know who's coaching them today.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, so Al Stasek, I'm based out of Northeast Ohio, the Cleveland area, suburbs. Been in real estate for about 24, almost 25 years now, and met my business partners, Michael Reese and Jay Kinder, back in 2010. You're going to actually learn some things that I learned in this brief training here today that literally helped me. Just because I mimicked what Mike and Jay were doing in their real estate businesses, I literally doubled my business every single year after that. And ultimately it led me to leaving a company that I loved, which at the time was Remax, and opening my own independent brokerage. And about 3 or 4 years after I opened up my independent brokerage, I merged it into eXp Realty with about 10 agents. Today, Michael, Jay, myself coach about 13,000 agents. It turned from 10 to 13,000 the last 5.5 years, and helping them grow their businesses, grow their teams. If they brought a brokerage over, grow that organization to levels they never thought of. So that's why we're here today, just to helping people grow. That's what we're committed to, adding value to the lives of real estate agents, changing some lives, and just helping them, live a life that they don't feel they need to take a vacation from, is kind of like what we say. So appreciate you having us on, and excited to talk about the book and some of the things that are in it today.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you very much. And Jay, give them a brief overview.
Yeah, real brief overview. I think I'm known as, selling, 500 plus homes a year. Took me a lot of hard work and a lot of failure to get to the point of being able to sell homes at that level. Then met a friend of mine, Mike Reese, me and Al's business partner, and we started a company that started coaching agents around the country. As we learned the best methodology and the best ways to quickly grow a business, we started helping others like Al and many others that came after that. And fortunate enough to be a part of a business now at eXp Realty, where we help people build a passive income on top of their active business that they have. Selling real estate that's very transactional. We can help you build that, but we also have a passive income component where we help you to build a passive income as well. And so it's always a pleasure to be here to add value and just give back to the community that's given so much to us.
Good.
I'm looking forward to the conversation.
And it's only a matter of time before I move to Puerto Rico, move in with Jay and live in his guest house. Okay. All right. So let's get this party started. Let's get this party started today. We're going to subdivide this into 3 teaching categories. I'm going to teach about 25 minutes, and then Al will teach and Jay will teach. We do want you to stick around to the end We are going to invite you to join us for something in the future in January 24th, where we go deeper on concepts that we don't cover today. We're going to invite you to get a copy of the new book, $1 Million Follow-Up. It also includes a copy of my new book, Flip the Switch. We're going to throw in all kinds of things for you, just so we can help you in the new year. And remember the 3 types of people, right, Brian? There's people who are going to come out fighting. There's people who are going to contract, and there's people who are going to freeze. And we want you to be in category number 1, which is people who come out fighting. Okay. And you need those things to be ready to come out fighting. Okay. Now, I want to show you what the gap is. And the gap is, how many of you have already identified today that you need a follow-up system on leads, opportunity, potential? Okay. How many of you would admit you do not have a consistent follow-up mechanism in place? Okay. So what I want to do here is I want to really make an argument. And the argument is let's step back and let's study human nature. Okay. And human nature is that objects at rest will stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. Okay. Objects in motion will stay in motion unless acted on by an outside force. Okay. So here's what I'm saying here. People by nature have inertia, which is resistance to move. They typically don't move unless there is a stimulus. Okay. And Covey used to teach, I was a disciple of Covey, and he used to teach between stimulus and response is a space. And in that space lies our ability to choose our response. We cannot control the response. We can only control the stimulus. Does everybody see that? So it is up to me to stimulate another person to take action, because objects at rest stay at rest. People at rest stay at rest. Okay. That's why I say action creates action. So problem number 1 is that I'm sitting in a stationary position. I have inertia. I have resistance to move. And problem number 2 is I'm distracted. I'm distracted because it's Christmas time, and I'm distracted because I got 4 other projects going on, and I'm distracted by the world. I'm distracted because I got kids. And the word distract means to pull apart. So I'm really pulled apart. Okay. Now, as you begin to grow your brand and business, you have more demand. You're even pulled apart even more. So see, that's why I say objects in motion stay in motion. So it's really hard sometimes to sell to a person in motion because, man, they're moving. And if you don't follow up with them to get their attention, then you never get a chance to explain your value. And if you never get a chance to explain your value properly, you never get a chance to invite them to take an action with you. Okay. So really the first problem is this problem of inertia. People want to do things, but they're stuck. And they're stuck because they're watching the news, and they're stuck because they're distracted, and they're stuck because they're in motion. Okay. And really what I want to show you is that you're not chasing when you're following up with people. Okay. I do not chase people. I make up my mind typically in the first 15 seconds if I am going to pursue a prospect or not. Okay. Now, Jay said something real important here. If those agents in Puerto Rico would have asked him key questions on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? Okay. How fast would you like to make this decision? What are you trying to do? They would have known what his ambitions were, what timeline he wanted to go, what velocity they should follow up, how serious he was, right? They would know if they just spent more time doing their discovery. So I typically say, I make up my mind about a person in 15 seconds. What I'm looking for is hungry, humble, teachable. Okay. I just call it a teachable spirit. So I'm in the coaching business, not the real estate business, although I buy and sell millions of dollars of real estate. I look to work with people who have a teachable spirit. They're hungry, they're humble, they're coachable. And I'm sure Jay and Al are looking for the same people in their Honey Badger Nation, right? They're hungry. That means they're interested. They're humble, they're coachable, and they have this kind of teachable spirit. And I can tell in a Zoom session. I can tell when I'm interacting with a person. And at that moment, okay, Micheal, right? I make up my mind at that moment, I'm going to follow up with this person. That's what I call my opportunity filter. We cover this in the book. How do we know? Because how many of you have wasted time following up with someone who was not serious about doing something? Raise your hand if you've done it before. Okay. How many of you have chased somebody for 15 months only to wish you never caught them? Okay. And you just had to win and you had to get them and you had to close them. And then you hated it. And you're like, man, I should never follow up with this person because they had all these red lights in the beginning. Okay. So what I'm trying to do, guys, is I've got a filter. And in that filter, I'm looking for a person and I ask questions. What are you trying to do? On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about doing this? I joke and I say, I only work with Navy SEALs, not baby SEALs. Paul Carney, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, look, man, I only work with serious people. I don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste my time. I don't want you to waste my time. So if you're serious, and I say this with your permission, I'm going to follow up with you like a pro. Everybody hear that? I have never had a person tell me no. With your permission, I'm going to follow up like a pro, which means I'm going to initiate my follow-up system. Once I make up my mind, because remember, I'm the buyer and not the seller. See, I've already made up my mind. I'm the prize. I'm not chasing somebody because they're the prize. There's 7 billion people in the world. I have something of value. I want to distribute that value to you, but I have made up my mind that I cannot help you until you commit to something. It is my duty. It's my obligation. It's my responsibility to you and me and my company and my family that I go the distance. Okay. So number one, once I make up my mind in the very first meeting, I'm like, man, I like this person. We got chemistry. They're hungry. They're humble. They're teachable. Then I'm going to initiate. Now, question is from Rob K. What does it mean? What does a pro mean? I'm going to go 7 to 15 touches with you. When I say I'm going to follow up like a pro, I'm going to be professional. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to bring value. And I'm going to go and I'm going to become an expert at helping you make a decision. That is really the purpose of the follow-up. Okay. But with like a pro is I'm going to be timely and I'm going to be right there and I'm going to go until we bring this to a decision. Now, for all my real estate people today, I've been using a term called options selling. See, if a real estate agent was working with Jay in Puerto Rico and Jay's trying to put a deal together, it would be wiser than to say, look, I'm going to put together 3 scenarios to help you put this real estate deal together. Right. And I'm going to handle everything over here and I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you some options, Jay. And if he doesn't like those 3 options, they need to keep going until they find an option he can say yes to. Does everybody understand? All my mortgage originators on here, you need to bring people options. Look, I'm going to bring you 2 or 3 options to try to put this deal together for you. And I call that option selling. Okay. We closed the deal last night with a person for $25,000. The goal was for her to pay $25,000 up front. She said, I can't pay $25,000 up front, but I really want to do this. And I said, no worries. Let me give you 3 options in how you can do this. Okay. Option A, option B, option C. And my strategy is to keep going until they make a decision. And the word decide means to kill something off. Okay. So let's step back for a second and let's look at some stats specifically in real estate. Number one, the average person is going to buy 4 to 7 houses in their lifetime. How many of you, by raise of hands, has already bought 4 to 7 houses? Okay. Some of you own 4 houses right now. Okay. So here's my point. Most likely every person owner is going to buy 4 to 7. Okay. Every satisfied person, and this is really for any industry, not just real estate, should be worth 5.7 referrals over the lifetime of the consumer. And now let me ask you a question. How many of you refer people that don't engage with you? Okay. I just got a referral just the other day from Jay and Al from Veronica and from all these other people. Here's the deal. If you don't stay in people's flow in their life, they don't refer you. They don't talk about you. They don't engage with you. Yes or no? So the more engagement there is, the higher the referrals are going to be. And the third component is that Every stat in the world says it takes 7 to 15 touches, 80% of the time, to convert a prospect to a client. Okay, so that would indicate I need at least a 7-touch follow-up. Okay, now we're going to get into methodology in just a second. We're going to get into timing in just a minute. But just based right there, how many of you, by raise of hands, are losing money right now because you don't have this in place? Just show me who all's losing money right now because you don't have it in place. Now, there's typically some considerations here. I don't want to bother people. I don't want to seem like I'm irritating people. And if you follow up incorrectly, you are bothering people. You are irritating people if you don't do it right, right? Because what they see you as just another person trying to sell them something. Listen to what I'm about to tell you, because we're moving into the purpose of the follow-up. Money changes hands when problems are solved. The bigger the problem, the more money people pay to solve that problem. So during your discovery, you're trying to do two things: locate their ambition and locate their problems. And every person on here has problems. Okay. Now, cash confidence is not how much money you have in your bank account. Because here's the funny thing: the more money I had in my bank account, the less confident I was. Isn't that crazy? Because then I started doing bigger deals. I'm like, well, man, I thought I had a bunch of money until I built a $7 million deal in Nashville. They're like, I need some more money. Now, so cash confidence is not how much money you have in your bank account. It is in your knowing that as long as there are problems and as long as there are ambitions, you will always have a way to make money. Does everybody see that? See, I could be teleported up there to Cleveland today and walk in Al's house, and Al say, look, okay, I guarantee we go out in Cleveland and find some problems to solve today. And I guarantee we can make money. That is cash confidence. Everybody get that? So you don't need to freak out about cash. You need to say, as long as I know how to locate problems and solve those problems. So what is the purpose of the follow-up then? Locate those problems and locate their ambition. Yes.
So Coach, just to put some things in perspective, and I'm not quite sure how many people, we have over 100 people on this webinar, and it's excited to see the great number of people, some that I recognize, some that I don't. But for those that have only been in, maybe you've only had your license 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. What we're about to see is something that you haven't seen ever before, which is a correction in the market. And when Coach talks about money's exchanged, and more money's exchanged when bigger problems are solved and identified, we are going to be needed more than next 18 to 24 months than we have in the last 6 years. They're going to need us more. What you're going to find, if you get these concepts down pat to the point where you don't even have to think about them, is that getting your full commissions, not getting beat up on commissions, is going to become routine. It's going to start to become, I don't like using the word easy, but if you internalize what is being taught here by Coach today, it will start to become what we like to call unconsciously competent, meaning you've done it so many times, you've done it so good, it just rolls off the tongue. You come across as confident, not cocky, and you're going to find that you're going to be earning more commissions than you've ever earned, because you're helping solve problems bigger. In the last 6 years, people didn't have big problems selling their houses. Those things practically sold themselves once you put them in the MLS and took some good pictures. Now you're going to actually have to have a proven system to do that with regard to how you market that property. And that's all going to come across it'll show up in your wallet and your bank account when you know you've been nailing these systems.
That's right. So think of yourself like this. You're a Navy SEAL and you have a very specialized skill set, and you are great at locating and solving people's problems. And there's lots of problems in real estate for people to solve. So those will be the people who are rewarded. Okay. Now, let me just give you an example. I was sitting in my house one night about 8 o'clock, and a real estate agent who was not my agent reached out to me with a simple text message. What are your real estate goals in 2023? And I said, man, I'm trying to do this, and this. Okay. So I just engaged with it. And I said, I have an agent. So I just want to let you know up front, I have an agent. He said, oh yeah, I know. I completely understand. But he listened to me. What are you trying to do? And I said, I'm trying to do this, this, this. And he said, you know what, with your permission, I'm going to help you with a few of these things. Had nothing to do with real estate, by the way. Some of it did. And I thought, so I took that message. I sent it to my real estate agent. I said, man, you should be doing this with all of your clients. You should be asking every client, what are your real estate goals in 2023? What are your ambitions? What are you trying to do? Right. And then you should think service. I'm going to serve. So let's get into the purpose of the follow-up. See, he initiated, he connected, he located my ambition. He invited me to take an action. That's what a great salesperson is going to do, folks. Okay. That's what he's going to do. So let's break it down to the essence. What is the purpose of the follow-up? Because I always start with what it means. The purpose of the follow-up is to help a person make a decision. Okay. It's to help a person make a decision. And the word decide means to kill something off. So that's the main purpose. That's when I call people. I say, Jay, the purpose of my phone call today is to help you make a decision. And that word decide means to kill something off, man. And what I want to do is give you enough information, be an expert for you, help you come to a decision on this. Because the word close means to bring something to an end. It means to bring two things together. Okay. And so what we're really doing is bringing your desire and my know-how together to close this deal. Okay. Now the word transaction means to discard. I don't like that word too much, but it is used and it's a transaction, right? It's an exchange of money for value. It's monetization. So I'm going to help you, Jay, with your permission. I'm going to go find the house you want in Puerto Rico. I'm going to negotiate it on your behalf. I'm going to fight for you and do everything I can. I'm going to handle everything on the back end so you don't have to worry about it. Jay, I'm going to bring it to you on a silver platter so you can say yes or no. See, that's what a good real estate agent would do. They wouldn't make Jay do all the work, which is what a lot of people do. Okay. So what is your ambition? What timeline? And the purpose of my follow-up is to help you make a decision. Now, tell me how these things help me make a decision. Al, I'm just checking in. Al, I'm just touching base. Al, I woke up thinking about you today, which is weird and creepy. Don't tell people you woke up thinking about them. Okay. Even if you did, don't tell them that. Okay. So listen, see, none of these things help Al make a decision. Okay. So the purpose is to help him make a decision. So the second purpose of the follow-up is to feed Al important information. Okay. Al, I've done my homework. I've broken this down. There's really 3 strategies we could use for you to do this. I put together some models for you. I've talked to the mortgage company. There's 3 ways we can get the mortgage. There's 2 ways I'm going to negotiate on your behalf. See where I'm going with this? Like when I come back to Al, it's like, okay, man, I'm serving it up on a silver platter for you. Okay. And I'm feeding him information. Al, I went and found some information for you. I did the comps. I did this. I think this is the best house in the subdivision per square foot with the best schools. Like what I'm doing is I'm feeding him information. Al, take a look at what I send you. I'm going to follow back up with you tomorrow. Okay. Now see what I'm doing? I'm keeping him in a forward posture. I'm feeding him information. Okay. So the second purpose is to feed him valuable information. The third purpose is to open his mind to possibility. Okay. I was looking at a property once for a greatness factory and I went and looked at it and I just didn't see it. The first time I looked at it, I didn't see it. And my real estate agent called me and he said, you know what, man, I want to open your mind to something. I want you to go back over and look at this property through this fresh perspective. And I went back over and looked at it and I'm like, man, he's right. This could work. Right. And I made an offer for like, I don't know, 5.2 million on the property. I didn't end up getting it, but at first I looked at it, I didn't see it. He, in his follow-up with me, opened my mind to the possibility. Let's go back and look at it again, because I really believe this could work for what you're trying to do. See, people have in their mind that they're going to get 100% of what they want. Okay. Very seldom in life do you get 100% of what you want, right? The house I live in right now is 80% of what I want. I'm 100% happy when I go home to it every night. Okay. So I tell people, I understand that you want 100%. Let's focus on getting you to 80%. And I guarantee you're going to love this. Okay. So the purpose of the follow-up, bring a person to a decision. Number 2, feed them valuable information. Number 3, open their mind to possibility. And number 4, okay, and Jay, I want you to talk about this just for a second here. I actually challenge sometimes the premise of the person in my follow-up, because sometimes the way they're looking at the problem is the problem. And I have to say to I say, man, you know, would you be open to looking at this a different way? Like, I think the way you're seeing this problem is the problem. Would you be open to this? How do you do that, Jay, when you think someone has an incorrect premise and they won't move forward because of something they're stuck on?
Yeah, I like to, the more I understand about what you're trying to do, the better I can help you. But if somebody just doesn't see it, I often just go down the road of, hey man, maybe this just isn't for you, and let them off the hook. And a lot of times it takes them back a little bit, and they're like, well, maybe I'm missing something. And so it kind of takes them off of their, whatever they're stuck on, and it makes them think about it. Say, well, maybe this just isn't for you.
And so that's a way of challenging them. And see, you got to understand who's in control here. See, the challenger takes control of the sale, and they don't allow the other people to control it. Look, you called me because I'm an expert. You're talking to me because I'm an expert. So I'm not going to let you drive the conversation because I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing here. Okay. So those are the 4 purposes of the follow-up. Now I'm going to show you one more thing on methodology, and then I'm going to turn it over to Al. So I got a purpose. How many of you are going to change the way you follow up based on that first thing I just said there? How many of you are never going to say, I'm just checking in again? For the love of God, folks. Don't tell them you've been coached by us 3 if you say that. Okay. So you're not checking in. Purpose of my phone call is to bring some value to you so you can make a decision. That's the reason I'm calling you. Now, let's get into methodology. So you're hearing me say 7 to 15 touches. When did I make up my mind I was going to pursue a person? Bruce Weinstein, when did I make up my mind I was going to pursue a person? Within what? How fast?
15 seconds. 15
Okay.
seconds.
And how do I know within 15 seconds, guys? Because I have a filter. Are they hungry? Are they humble? Are they coachable? Do they have a teachable spirit? Is this somebody I want to work with? How many of you met somebody in the first 15 seconds you knew, I don't want to work with this person?
Yeah.
Okay. I love when people tell me how great they are in the first 15 seconds. I'm like, good for you. You're probably not a candidate for me. Okay. So let me move on to somebody who's hungry and humble. Okay. So when you're thinking about this, I've already made up my mind. I like you. I'm going to pursue you. I'm not chasing. I want everybody to understand this. We're not chasing people. People of interest do not chase. People of interest do follow up. Okay. And we're going to follow up with the methodology. And it's like boxing. We're going to use a sweet science of boxing. Okay. We jab, 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 and then we hook. And every time we jab, we're going to jab with value. We're going to bring something of value. So if Jay and Al and I met and we talked about something, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that meeting up with a summary. All right, we met. Here's what we said we're going to do, right? And I'm going to summarize that meeting. Here are our next steps. That's one touch. Okay. Now, let's say they're busy. I may follow up a day or 2 days later. Have you had a chance to review it? I've had 2 more thoughts on how we can make this work. Okay. Now that's 2 touches. I may come back with a video on touch number 3. Man, I'm working with real estate agent over here, had a big breakthrough. This could help you. Now I'm on 3 touches. Okay. I've used video text. I've used text message. I've used voicemail. I'm using different mechanisms to follow up. Does everybody see that? On touch number 4, I'm on my hook. Jay, Al, have you guys seen enough to make a decision? We're losing momentum every day we don't take action. And I like to say we lose 10% of momentum every day we don't act. Okay. It's time sensitive. We got it. There's an opening. And I'm trying to activate their prey drive to take action. It's like, let's go. Let's do this. Okay. Now let's say they don't take action. Touch number 5 goes back to a jab. Okay. And it could be testimonial, could be a video. I use anything I can to stay in a flow and rhythm with them. Okay. Now, touch number 7, I ask a hard question. Have you noticed how hard I've worked to earn your business? Is anybody else working this hard? And I guarantee you, national average of real estate agents right now is 1.8 follow-up touches. 1.8. So I guarantee you nobody else is working this hard. So I say, have you noticed how hard we've worked to earn your business? Have you given up on this? See, my version of what Jay said a minute ago, my takeaway is to say, have you given up on this, man? We had momentum. We've lost momentum. Have you given up on this? And if they don't come back and say anything, they have given up on it. Okay. Which tells you everything you need to know. Okay. So move on. Don't continue to chase people who are not interested. So I typically say, I'm going to call the dogs off. I'm going to tell my team to back off. You got my phone number. When you're ready, I'll be ready. Okay. Now my tendency is to get worked up, to get upset, to try to say, look, what's wrong with you? You moron. Like, I can't help you until you take action here. That's what my human nature is. But the little angel on my shoulder says, take a chill pill. And I just go, you know what? We really want to help you, man. It's apparent you're not ready. When you're ready, we'll be ready. Okay. And I'm going to keep going. Now, if they give me any interest, like I just need a little bit more time, bear with me, hang in there. I got a lot going on. I'm distracted. I understand. Okay. I'm just going to keep tagging you and staying in there with you until I get to touch number 15. And then when I get to 15, I'm going to go, man, it just don't seem like we make this work. I love you. I'd love to work with you, but there's 7 billion people on planet Earth. Okay. Now I feel like I'm chasing, and I don't do that. Okay. There's too many people to work with. So what's the lesson before I turn it over to Al? Jab, 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 hook. Give, ask. Give, ask. And it's okay to ask a hard question. Man, it seems like you want to do this. It feels like this is right for you. I mean, it sounds like you want to move forward, but man, I just can't get you to move forward. So it seems like you're stuck on something. Am I right about that? Okay. Now we're getting into conversion. Okay. So Al, what I talked about there was going the distance, the purpose, and the method. Okay. Now so Al, I want you to take over right here, because I think a lot of people are already getting value. How many of you guys are getting value out of it? If you're getting value out of this, put it in the chat box. We've got 119 people on here. I'm streaming it on Facebook, so we're gonna have another 400 or 500 views. I just want to help you make more money, man. I want to help you. I want to help you get these deals that you're losing and these partnerships because you're just not doing it correctly. Okay. It breaks my heart to see people not follow up correctly. So Al, take it over right here.
I'm mute. Now I'm not on mute. Awesome. So thanks, Coach. That's gold right there. I hope everybody's taking notes. And what I'm going to do is just kind of build a bridge from where Coach was at when he was talking about the jab, jab, right hook. I'm going to go into a right hook, because I think what I've seen a lot of agents struggle with, I struggled with this earlier in my career, was actually how to convert and draw that bridge from them hesitating, lack of trust, whatnot, to, okay, I will meet with you and I will get that appointment. Because the goal of follow-up before you've actually gotten a face-to-face appointment is to get the face-to-face appointment. Very few transactions. I know that in this day and age, there are people buying homes and even maybe selling homes sight unseen where you're not meeting with them. But for the most part, we're still a people business. And my goal is always to get face-to-face. I know that I can make a better connection that way, build trust, build authority, and ultimately get them to commit to allowing me to help them sell their home. So I had a very easy to follow script that does a couple things. One, it breaks down the barrier, and the way we break it down is in positioning. You don't want, with your follow-up, to be positioning yourself as another salesperson. As Coach mentioned earlier, nobody wants to be sold. People want to feel like they're speaking to an expert who's advising them on this giant transaction that they're about to do, that they're hesitating to do because of fear, anxiety, doubt, lack of trust, whatever it is. Our goal is to bridge that gap, build that trust, build that authority. So I'm going to give, and this is in the book, by the way, at the end of this, stick around at the end. We have a pretty amazing offer where y'all are going to be able to get the ability to get our book and the other book, Flip the Switch, that Coach wrote, and of course the $1 Million follow-up for real estate agents that Coach Jay and I just penned. But this is just a simple script. It's in the book, like I said. Feel free to make the notes if you want. So when I would be following up, and I'm getting these people, it's, Coach will go over the difference with the zones. You have your active follow-up list. And then when someone is like literally right there, they're about to make a decision. We call that the red zone. These are your most motivated people. They have to sell their house, or maybe in the case of a buyer, have to buy, but they just haven't made a decision to commit to you for their representation yet. So a call that I would make would go something like this. So, Mr. Seller, most agents are going to get on the phone with you and do a song and dance and tell you how great they are. What I'd like to do, if it's okay, is I'd like to take my sales hat off and talk about you, if that's okay. And pretty much everyone at that point would be like, yeah, let's talk. That's what I want to do. Let's talk about me. And what I would do then is I would then go back to the whole reason. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen inside sales, I owned an inside sales company for years. I've listened to literally thousands of sales calls of inside salespeople, which if you're a single practitioner, you're also an inside salesperson as well, because this is the art of being able to connect and make a connection via the telephone. And the biggest reason the biggest mistake I would see agents make is they wouldn't find out the whole reason, what was causing them to want to sell, what was causing a buyer to want to buy or have to buy. And it's so important that you can't skip that step. Everything anchors back to that. So in this particular script, I've just taken my sales hat off. I've given them the confidence. I'm not here to sell them anything, but really just helping them solve their problem. And I go back into the script. What I'd like to confirm before we even decide to work together is that I want to make sure that the last time we talked about a month ago, you and Mrs. Smith, you were thinking about selling your home up here in Cleveland because you wanted to move down to beautiful Puerto Rico, where the weather's always 85 and 90 degrees and you don't have to worry about this snow. Is that still the case? I get them to confirm back on the phone that nothing's changed in their current situation. Because if something has changed in their current situation, we're not going to be having the same follow-up conversation. I think everybody would agree with that. So first thing, reaffirm why they're looking to sell, why they have to sell, and let's re-anchor that reason, because that's where everything stems off from there. Okay. Now, if they say yes, it is, I go into, well, appreciate you sharing that with me. Unlike the average agent, I'm not here to fill your head with things that you want to hear just so I can stick my sign in your yard. I'd like the permission for you from you to tell you what you need to hear, because the truth of it is we actually turn down more listings than we take. So with your permission, I'm going to be telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Is that okay? Now, what did I just do right there? Not only at the beginning, I told them that I'm literally taking my salesperson hat off. I also just kind of established a positioning that I don't need their business, but I want their business. And another thing I used to say is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, especially if people are talking to different agents, is you don't want to hire an agent who has to sell your home more than you need to sell their home. So let's back that up again. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you don't want to hire an agent who needs to sell your home more than you need to sell your home, meaning they're more desperate to take a lower offer or what have you, or even cave in negotiations. We're positioning ourselves again as an expert. We're positioning ourselves as an expert negotiator, and we're taking away that sales breath, if you will. We're taking off the table the whole desperation that a lot of salespeople, not just in real estate, but in other industries, if they're hurting for a commission check, sometimes it can come across as that desperation. The second that they smell that desperation, you're done. And so the more you do this and the more you do this, the smoother this delivery will become, to the point where you don't even think about it and it rolls off your tongue. And so I go into and continue. Great, perfect. That's all I ask, is that when we're done meeting, you just simply tell me, if I'm going to ask you, so excuse me, let me back that up. So after they agree and understand that it's okay for us to tell you what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, I simply go into perfect. All I ask is that when we're said and done, if you're comfortable with my home selling system, I'm going to ask you to hire me as your agent. And if we're not a fit, just be honest and tell me. My feelings won't be hurt. Is that fair enough? Now that I've broken that down, it's so much easier at that point to set an appointment. And so I'm not going to get into, in the book, I go into what I call the 5 lies. These are the 5 most common objections that I ran into after selling over 1,000 homes personally and going on literally hundreds and hundreds of listing appointments. As you can imagine, you do it that many times, you start to hear the same ones over and over again. It's not like there's 100 different objections. So I broke those down into the top 5. They're in the book. You can read about them when you get your copy. At the end of this, we're going to show you how to get a copy of that. But what I want to go into, Coach, is what I believe is the most powerful follow-up tool that is at every single one of our fingertips. If you own one of these, especially, I can't speak for the Android people. I love you too. I love everybody, but the Apple people for sure, have the ability to shoot video, which is something that I've personally been teaching for years. But the one thing I hadn't up until recently actually implemented was using short, small 30-second videos for follow-up for people that I have not actually met yet. And so I want to go over why that works. Why does video work? And before I get into that, in the chat, put in the chat a thumbs up or yes, I do. Let me know anyone in here who's currently just using video in any capacity whatsoever in their business, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, whether it be BombBomb and all these things. Put a yes in there and let me know. Thumbs ups. That's awesome. So a lot of people in here are already using video. They're already using BombBomb. That's great. Okay. And so that's a lot of you. So we got some really sharp, forward-thinking people in here, and it's great. Let me find my notes on this second part here, and here it is. So why does everyone think or believe video is so popular right now? And go ahead and put it in the chat. I love all the chats and the interaction going on here. Why is video so much more effective? People are too lazy to read. Sometimes, yeah. Yep. The beauty in combining video with a text follow-up is that, first of all, 95% of text messages are read and opened. Now, in the marketing terms, that isn't like, in compared to like email open rates that are somewhere sometimes between, depending on the list you're sending them to, 5% to maybe a high of 30, 40% if you're really, really lucky. 95% is absolutely unbelievable. But even in today's, new society where a lot of robo texts are going out and this and that, you start to get a little bit lost in the mix when it comes to if you're just sending text follow-ups. Now, video happens to be 600 times. This is not my statistic, by the way. This is a statistic we found with a study that was done by, I think it was called Diode Digital or something like that. I'm pronouncing it wrong, where they did a study and they found that the effectiveness of video versus just a text is 600% more effective. And why is it more effective? Well, because it invokes the law of reciprocity. If everyone's read the book Influence, you'll know that there's I think it's like six or seven laws of influence. And one of the most popular, one of the most strong laws of influence is the law of reciprocity. And all that simply means is that when someone's given something, they feel a need to reciprocate back. And until I actually read that book, I didn't know how powerful that law in itself was. But I actually started as soon as I read the book, which was years and years and years ago, when I went on listing appointments. And this is something that's just a little writer downer. This is not in the book, by the way, but I'm going to go ahead and send it out to you. I use a company called Send Out Cards. I actually haven't used them since I stopped listing homes, but Send Out Cards, it's a great system. It allows you to send these, not just personalized pre-written notes at the click of a mouse or a button, okay? But you could actually also send little gifts. So I would send at the end of a listing appointment, let's say I went on a listing appointment, I didn't get it. Instead of following up and saying, hey, are you ready, this and that, I would literally send them a note, thanking them for their time, the opportunity to earn their business, and I would send them brownies. I can't tell you, directly from Send Out Cards, I cannot tell you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars that I made. I may not have been the best presenter, I may not have been the best agent fighting for the job, but I sent them brownies as a follow-up thank you. And I ended up getting callbacks and saying, man, I literally had this one guy call me and say that they were ready. They're ready to list with me. And while they were listening, I heard this guy going, no, these brownies are so good, Al. Can you come out Friday at 6? They were loving the brownies. Why did they choose me? Well, maybe I did share and build trust with them and build authority, but the law of reciprocation, the law of reciprocity is so strong that they ended up calling me back and listing with me. In some cases, there were people that were fighting for that listing that sold way more homes than me. I was not the number one person in my market. And so law of reciprocity, going back to video, the video is that much effective. It literally takes 30 seconds to pick up your phone. And I find myself, it's a habit you have to start to get yourself into. Yes, you can use BonBon. The only thing about with BonBon is that BonBon is an amazing, I have BonBon. Love BonBon, use it. But there's nothing more effective that I've done than sending text messages of videos that have a personalized message from me to that prospect. Now, if you have more of a generalized message, it's still better than sending a text message. And the tool that I use to do that at a mass scale is Reach. And I'm going to put it down here, Reach, RECH. It's the Reach app. That Reach app, I have zero affiliation with Reach app other than I'm just a huge raving fan and I talk about it in a lot of my teachings and presentations. This allows you to put a group of people that you're following up with. And in real day and age with me, my number one priority every day is looking at my hit list, looking at my red zone. And these are agents who have considered, who've shown strong interest in partnering with us at our brokerage and allowing us to help them grow their business and take their businesses to the next level. Another word for that is recruiting. So I have my list. I use it the same as that I would do as if I had a list of sellers that I wanted to list their property, except mine are agents. And so I'm following up with them. I have them in a specific group, and I'm able to communicate with them quickly, easily, and effectively through that Reach app. And one of the most effective ways I do it is through video. So I'm going to share a couple more things with you about video. I mean, unless you guys have been living under a rock, I think it's like the statistic is something like 73% of real estate or of people that are looking to buy or sell real estate, 73% of them work with the first agent who makes contact with them. And if you were to do it by video, imagine how much more your odds. Coach talked about it yesterday in our thing. We want to, one of the goals in an effective follow-up campaign and system is making sure that you're increasing your odds of someone saying, yes, I want to do business with you. Coach, if you want to jump in there and talk about that, you articulated a little bit better than me in implementing this system to increase the odds of an outcome that not just you're looking for, but the prospect's looking for.
Yeah, this is a game of probability, and you increase the probability by action. You decrease the probability by lack of action. So when you're trying to increase probability, you know, it's a game of numbers. And that's why I always go back to the percentages. To Al's point, 67 to 73% of people use the very first person that contacts them, which is why follow-up is so important. Just connecting with people, just being around people. And then when you go to 7 to 15 touches, now you're getting in that 80 percentile of how many times statistics say it actually takes to get a person to say yes. And that's called conversion. The word conversion means to take something and convert it to something, or take nothing. I say take interest and convert it to action.
Yep. And the truth is, it was so great to see so many people that are using send out cards, that are using video right now. But let me just share something with everyone on here. For as many people, first of all, the statistics on this particular webinar that we're doing today do not equate to what the masses are. And let me restate that differently. The fact that you're on here learning puts you in a very small percentage of the top professionals and people who are looking to grow and that are hungry to be better. If we compare to the masses, and unfortunately or fortunately, everybody, the masses take up a giant chunk of our market share. The onesie twosies, the people that are doing 3Z4 maybe or whatever, they're just sticking their toe in the water. They still take a little bit of that market share. And in comparison, you're going to set yourself so far apart. Now, on this webinar, you saw all these people raise their hands saying they're using video. So there's a large portion of you that are already using video. But most agents are afraid. They're afraid of how they're going to look and sound on this to a prospect, or maybe it's a stranger, someone they've never met, and they freeze up. And instead of just going for it and getting out of the comfort zone and burning the boats and shooting that video and sending it over, they do nothing. And that puts them in the category of everybody else. So if you're in a habit of following up through text message, I want to challenge everyone on this call to pick up the phone when this is done and shoot your video and send a personalized video to some of the prospects who you would consider in your red zone. The red zone is, in football terms, everyone knows, between the 20-yard line and the goal line. Okay, that's what's considered the red zone in football terms. Now, the red zone in sales terms are those people who have shown strong interest. They've even basically half committed, meaning they said, you know what, I think I'd be ready to do this. Maybe I'm just not ready right now. Those people, you need to be moved into the red zone, and you should be following up and communicating with them even more than you would the people who are not in the red zone. Okay. And send those videos out there. There's 3 reasons. Okay. Number 1, a video is personal. You're able to connect with them, build rapport with them. We like to call it affinity. Okay. There's 2 types of affinity. There is the surface affinity, which is how we sound, how we look, how we come across maybe in a video. That's surface affinity. And most people get stuck up on this surface affinity, which is the reason they don't shoot the video. Let me share something with everybody. Nobody likes the way they sound, including myself, in a video. I always think that my voice sounds like a pirate, or I'm talking too slow, or I'm talking too fast, or whatever it is. You know, the pacing, you'll get better at it as we go. But the most important thing is not surface affinity. It's deep affinity. Deep affinity is when we connect with our prospects on a deeper level. In order to connect with them, we have to know what their problem is so that we can help them solve their problem. We have to know the purpose of why they want to sell their home, why they want to buy their next home. And we need to stick to that and stay to that, because it's about them and it's about that, not about us getting a commission check. And the second that they smell that, we're done. So the video is more personal. Second, it shows you actually care about them. Now, if you're shooting kind of a generic video and you're sending it out to 20 prospects, that's fine. It's better than nothing. But your people who are the closest, if you're sending them a personal message, you know, a message that says, hey, Jay, Amber, it's let's see, what's my name in Puerto Rico, Jay?
Carlos.
El Carlos? Alejandro. It's Alejandro. Hey, this is Alejandro. Listen, Jay, Amber, I'm sitting there making this video. Jay, Amber, it was so great meeting you and your lovely kids. I enjoyed meeting your family, and I'm hoping to get you guys into that next place before your lease ends by June. So if there's anything that I can do, if it's okay with you, I'm going to follow up with y'all like a pro. I'm going to make sure that I'm sending you any updated properties. I'm out here working hard for you. And I just wanted you to know I appreciated the opportunity to earn your business. Now, that type of a video that takes 30 seconds has so much more effect than putting them on an automated drip campaign. And who in here has been guilty of that? I had been for years. The drip campaigns, they're great for people that you actually haven't had any contact with. But once you've made contact with somebody, you do not want them on an automated drip. Okay. Third reason why video is so effective is that it conveys emotion. How many people on this training has sent a text message to a friend, a family member, maybe even a prospect, and because of the way you typed your message, even though it wasn't meant to come across that way, it was taken out of context. The people, maybe they got a little bent because the way that they were reading the words, they comprehended them differently than you meant to send them. How many of you, it's happened to me before. And then we have to go back and try to now play damage control and undo what we didn't even mean to do. When you're able to use video, you can paint a picture of words with no doubt. You can convey the actual emotion, your happiness. You can smile, and you can send an energy that just it's impossible to be sent through a word text message. So I'm going to pause right there. There's a lot more in that chapter we have an entire chapter that's dedicated in the book to just video texting. In fact, what I'm going to do, Coach, if we have time, I want to give an example of a couple scripts that we have used, that our coaching clients have used and agents have used. Let's do this. Let's do a buyer lead. It's very common right now. And I know that the number of people looking for buyer leads is starting to increase now that it's a little bit easier to work with buyers. Here's an example of a buyer script lead for a video that everyone can use. So, all right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, Jay, it's Al with eXp Realty. Hey, thanks for going to my site, looking at homes. Now, you could fill that in with any others. Hey, thanks for your call about 123 Janice Street or whatever it is. Hey, I'm just reaching out to let you know I saw your request for the more information, or I saw your request for a showing on the property. I specialize in Dorado, Puerto Rico. I'd love to learn more about what your family need. Let's find some time to customize a search from you or get together and actually see this house. I look forward to chatting with you. Another thing too is to convey that you're busy. Never leave someone open and say, I'm open all day for a call anytime. Ever, never say that. Say, hey, I'm between appointments right now. I actually only have about 30 seconds. So I wanted to shoot this quick video. Convey a sense of urgency. Convey the sense that you're a busy person. People want to do business with people who are busy. They don't want to do business with somebody who has all the time in the world and call me anytime. I'm open all day. You're dead in the water right there. You're busy. I got about 30 seconds between my next appointment, but it was important for me to reach out to you. You see how I'm conveying that trust. This is a way that you can also build authority. You can build trust by just letting them know that you're busy, but you're not too busy for them to pick up the phone, shoot a quick video, and send a personalized message. I'll leave it open for a couple questions here. Comments from Coach Jay, anything to add?
No, good stuff, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, you're getting technical in the follow-up. To me, the video is for connection, right? You want to connect with people, and it's hard to connect through a text message. So the video follow-up to me is very, and I look at friction, guys. So I understand a lot of you use bomb and things, but to me, I personally do not like things where there's friction on me as the consumer, meaning I got to open it, then it takes me to another page, then I got to look at it. That to me is friction, and I don't like friction. I like removing friction. So that's why I like click, I pop up on the video, and you can do that with the iPhones. And, to me, that removes friction. I constantly think, how hard is it for them to take action? How hard is it for them to open this video? How hard is it for them to click? So that's what I look at when I'm looking at the video piece.
Rob K, I've never sent the cannabis brownies, Rob K, but you might be onto something if you live in Colorado.
See?
Or if you live in Jay Kinder's neighborhood, you definitely win some listings. But no, I've never sent those brownies.
Rob K is a character. I like him. All right. Now, Jay, why don't we shift here to you?
Yep.
And when we're thinking about follow-up, because what we're trying to do here, guys, is open your mind, sharpen your skills to follow up, okay? And get you to go, okay, I got to get better. There's a better way to do this. I want to pick up what I'm missing here. So Jay, take over.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Absolutely, coach. So one of the things, and I'm going to piggyback on some things that Al said too, as well, in terms of the presentation and really presenting your value. So I think that's, it's incredibly important for you to be able to articulate your value in a way that you create a defining gap between you and everyone else. And you make the process clear, make it clear to them that you have a process for helping them get to their goals. And so, for instance, just as Al mentioned, it's exactly the same script that we use. We take control of the conversation. We're sitting down. We want to review exactly what their needs are, confirm what their needs are. And then once we've confirmed what their needs are, there's a transition statement that is beautiful to use, whether it's a buyer or a seller. And it is, and you're going to want to write this one down. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's no question I can help you guys get moved to Houston so you can be with your grandkids by August. And I'd like to show you how we're going to do that. Is that okay? That transition is they're giving you permission now to present your value proposition and your process for how you're going to actually help them accomplish their goal. And this is an important part, a huge step in the process, is making sure that you have their permission now for you to show them that you have a system, you have a process. And so, for instance, on the sales side of the business, there's over 115 variables involved in the home selling process. And it's how we manage these variables proactively that's going to determine whether you attract a high offer or a low offer. Mr. Seller, would you like to attract a high offer, or would you rather attract a low offer? They're always going to say they want to attract a high offer. So we have a proven, repeatable system backed by market research to sell homes for up to 18% more than the methods of traditional real estate agents. Would you like for me to show you how we do that? So that's how I start the presentation. I give them the statistic. There's over 115 variables involved in the home selling process, and it's how we proactively manage these variables. It's going to determine if we attract a high offer or a low offer. Another one of the points in that presentation, we have 7 laws that we go through. I'm not going to go through all those here, but in those 7 laws, one of them is negotiation. Mr. Seller, do you believe that it's important to negotiate from a position of strength or a position of weakness? No, I think I'd like to negotiate from a position of strength. Well, let me show you how we're going to help you to negotiate from a position of strength with your home in the marketplace today. And after making each point in each one of these laws, what we do is we do a little check-in. We say, do you see how that could add an additional 3 to 5%, having someone that knows how to negotiate and get you the best possible deal? When you're getting it's called a check-in. When they check in with you, you check in with them 7 times, you get 7 small yeses. You're going to get a lot closer to getting the big yes. In fact, you'll get the big yes almost every time. So those are super important parts of the process. Another point I'd like to make on the follow-up. There's an MIT study. If you haven't seen it, you can Google the MIT study. Just Google MIT lead follow-up study, and it'll pop up. And it's 100. And this is an incredible statistic. Like there's so many variables involved in this process of generating a lead all the way to the close that you can improve upon. Little metrics along the way. The most important one, the one that makes the biggest impact in whether you're going to ever convert a deal or not, is your speed of follow-up. If you follow up in the first 5 minutes, you're 106 times more likely to convert that or to get contact with that person than if you follow up in just 30 minutes. The difference between 5 and 30 minutes is 106 times more likely. So build systems in place, whether it's through automation to create a text that goes out automatically, or you're there to make that phone call as soon as that lead comes in. That's a huge difference maker. It's going to impact all the rest of the metrics across your follow-up and improve the performance of every single thing that you do. So speed of follow-up is critically important. People don't do it these days. I don't know what people are afraid of, or if they're afraid to make the calls, or they just don't have the technology, or whatever the case may be, but nobody follows up. I mean, heck, half the leads never get followed up with at all. And that's, I mean, about every other time I fill out a form on a website to look at a property, it's probably like 3 times out of 10 that anybody ever gets back to me, which is incredible. So like, if you're lead generating, take it seriously, be the first to contact them while they're in that same mode of what they're doing. If they're looking at a property and you follow up right away while they're looking at that property, you're going to have a much better conversation, not only just more likely to get a hold of them, but you're gonna have I think the statistic was 21 times more likely to qualify them and actually bring that business to you. So that's a huge component as well.
Well, that's that. What I'm hearing right there from Jay is where the pre-selling is really taking place. Pre-framing is really taking place to get them to commit is in that very first part of
Yep.
getting those yeses of doing what do you call that discovery, Jay, or what is that?
Yeah.
What is
It's
that
we call
cycle
it,
called?
you know, well, and we call it the buyer counseling interview, the seller counseling interview. We're really trying to understand their situation. We're asking them the hard questions. Hey man, what happens if you don't sell this house? We're like, well, no, we got to sell the house. I mean, we're leaving. Like, we're moving in 2 months. We got to sell this. Okay, so what happens if it doesn't sell in the next 2 months? Well, I don't know. We would, you know, they start looking at each other and trying to, you know, figure out, well, I guess we'd have to rent it or we'd have to do this. And then the wife will speak up and say, well, no, remember, you know, Uncle Tony, he rented his house and it got destroyed. We're not renting our house. So, okay, so it's really important that we get this thing sold in the next 60 days. Is that what I'm hearing? And now I'm starting to really uncover the pain where they don't sometimes want to share with you what their biggest pain is, what happens if they don't accomplish that goal. But when you can uncover that pain, now you can go back to that and make sure, hey, remember when you said, you know, it was really important that you get it sold in the next 60 days. That's the reason why we're going to make sure we need to get it priced accurately in the marketplace to go to market today, which today is going to be more important than anything. I love this marketplace because we're more valuable as long as we can articulate that we have a process for helping people get to their goal. If you can make the value visible, we use these presentations here. We have these big placemats and they're awkward and big for a reason because nobody else has anything like it. But we're trying to make the value visible. How do we show them we have a proven, repeatable system for helping them to accomplish that goal? And if you can do that, you make your value visible where another agent just comes in and does a dog eating pony show telling them how great they are. You're going to walk away with that deal every time.
Yep, I like that. I like that. So what we're tackling here, folks, is we're tackling kind of the filter, the opportunity filter in the beginning. Now you're gonna have more awareness of who you should pursue. Jay is really tackling the discovery process to locate their ambitions and do the proper discovery, because the whole purpose of the follow-up is to help them achieve what they want to achieve, right? And now you're kind of armed, and plus you got all these micro yeses that he's talking about by asking these questions. And then Al is talking about using video to follow up and connect with people as you're going jab, 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 hook, right? So Jay, when you think about it and you go back to and you say, okay, the most important part of the follow-up, in your opinion, because you sold 500 houses, is what would you say is the most important part? Is it the discovery? Is it with the speed to the thing, or is it in those touches afterward to get them to bring them to a decision?
I believe it's in the discovery. And the reason I say that is because if I understand how I can best help you, then now I know how to follow up. I know what your motivation is. I know what concerns that you have. And this goes all the way down to, like, if you wanted to write an ad today, like we're doing completely different marketing than we did a year ago. Completely different. Why? Because the conversations at the dinner table right now that are happening are not the same conversations that were happening a year ago. People were making offers. There's 20 offers on a property. I mean, people were just happy to get something done. Agents were just writing offers left and right. People were just hoping they could get a deal. Today, people are much more concerned about where they're making people's net worth has dropped dramatically. No matter what they're invested in, it's down. And so the way that they're looking at spending money and the way that everyone looks at what they're going to be paying monthly, they don't feel like they're getting a deal. They're not even sure that they should do something or not. They're concerned about rates. Are they going to continue to go up? Or are they going to go down? Is this market going to get worse? Am I going to lose my job? Well, all these things are things that are going on. These are conversations that are happening at the dinner table. And when you understand the marketplace and what's going on in the marketplace, then you can attach your messaging to really talk to that person specifically. And so it starts not just with the follow-up or the needs analysis. It also actually really starts with understanding what's going on in the marketplace. But you got to ask the hard questions. You got to be willing to really get uncomfortable by asking questions that maybe you don't feel comfortable asking. But in order for you to be the best expert and advise them in the best way, you have to know what is their concerns, what are their options, what are they going to do if they don't do something. And that way you can make those connections, and you can use that in your follow-up and really just genuinely care about people and trying to help them get to where they're trying to go.
You know what I really like about working with Jay and Al is it reminds me of when I worked with Kevin Elko and Saban. And Saban will call Elko and they have these discussions. Nick Saban's a head coach at Alabama. Elko is his sports psychologist. And sometimes they'll put me on speakerphone and let me listen to these conversations. And they're looking for any edge they can get. And it could come down to how they communicate. It could come down to how they take action on something. But it's fascinating to me because the top people are always looking for that edge. So Jay just said something that we haven't addressed, which is really understanding the psychology of when somebody makes a decision to buy, what they're worried about, their net worth is down, what would cause a trigger opinion. I mean, Jay, don't you think that that's an even another facet to follow up, which is just the psychology of what's going on in people's minds that would cause them to make a buying decision?
Absolutely.
So guys, what we've been talking about today is just a little sliver of what we write about in a new book called $1 Million Follow-Up for Real Estate Agents. And I wrote down in my notes, Jay and Al, that there's going to be 3 types of people. And the 3 types of people are people who are going to come out fighting and figure out a way to win. They're going to do whatever it takes to win during this period. They just keep coming. They got remarkable boldness. They got intrinsic motivation. They got the ability to lock in. They're going to be people who flee and contract to places of comfort. Okay. And then there's going to be people who freeze and they say, well, I'm just going to sit and wait for the economy to bounce back, to wait on something to happen. They're going to be objects at rest. They're going to have resistance to move. Okay. Then I wrote down in my notes, there's going to be amateurs and there's going to be pros. Jay and Al are pros. They make the pro money because they break it down to a science. They're contenders, not pretenders. And really, you got to make up your mind. Are you going to perform at a higher level during this battle testing season? Because I love battle testing season. I don't know about you, but I was a basketball coach and I loved playing against great competition because it actually brought out the best in me. I mean, it brought out the absolute best in me. Like, I love a good fight. And you got to make up your mind if which one of these you're going to be: amateur, pro, pretender, contender. Make the pro money, make the amateur money. You're going to fight, you're going to flee. And that's really why when we put this together today, we said, man, we really want to offer these people the ability to go a little bit deeper and invite them to a deeper training with us. And
Coach,
go ahead.
Before you mention that, I want to emphasize something that you just said too, is that the difference between, for me, I remember a point in my career where even though I was very ambitious and I wanted to see a higher level of success, I wanted to see a higher level of income, whatever that meant, it's different for everybody. It wasn't until I decided when you go from amateur to pro, something else happens other than your income going up and all those other things. This doesn't feel like work anymore. It literally feels like more like a fun, friendly competition. You start to enjoy this business by 10x when you're able to internalize a system as simple as this. And when I say simple, this does the number one hang up I see people that want to try to implement a system like this is they get caught up in priority confusion. They freeze up and then they do nothing. Yeah. And many people that do nothing, it's not because they don't want to be successful. It's not because they don't want to implement it. It's because they get overwhelmed. And overwhelmed makes you freeze up. And the biggest thing I want everyone to come out of today's training with is that when you push beyond overwhelm, push through the overwhelm, push through when you may get off of this with a fun little buzz and be thinking, oh man, I had some really good takeaways. Maybe you took some good notes. I'm going to implement this right away. I'm going to challenge you to go all in. Go all in on trainings. Go all in using this to get face to face. And if there was just one thing that you mastered in the next 30 to 60 days, you master this, not only are you going to make more money, that's a given. You're just going to have more fun. Your appointments are going to seem more fun. Your calls, if you have call reluctancy and you feel your anxiety going up and you feel like you need a Xanax or whatever, you won't feel that way anymore. You're going to feel great. You're going to feel like, man, give me my next call. You're going to get off that call. You just slayed it. You're going to want to get on the next call. You're going to go to this appointment. You're not going to have your nerves all bunched up before you walk through the door. You're going to walk through the door like a boss. And it's because you've been through the revelations. You've been on the treadmill. You've done it over and over and over again, to the point where you feel so confident. You're walking up to that listing appointment like Conor McGregor walking into the ring, ready to go to battle, but so confident that you're going to get it. You're not even worried. There's no anxiety. And so for me, I remember that the day that happened, where I walked out, I was like, dang, that was easy. Shoot. It felt like work all the way up until then, but for whatever reason. And it's that confidence that you build. It feels smoother, but you have to get in the batter's box and swing. You got to strike out once in a while and don't get discouraged. Get back in there and take some more swings. Before you continued, I just wanted to interject that.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the real prizes by mastering this system.
I love it. And I kept thinking about you sending Xanax brownies when you were in the follow-up. That's all I could think about when you were thinking about follow-up.
I'd be keeping those brownies for myself. I wouldn't be mailing them out.
All right. So what we decided to do from today's been a great hour and a half. These two guys are legends. I've been working with these guys for two or 3 years now. Absolutely. Really have a very high amount of respect for them. So we sit down, we said, well, how can we help people in January? January means new beginning. Came from the Greek goddess Janus. She had two heads, one that looked forward to the future, one that looked back on the past. And so what we've done is we put together a 4-hour masterclass. I'm going to share my screen right here. We put together a 4-hour masterclass in January, on the 24th of January. Okay. And it's called Turn Your Follow-Up into Millions. Okay. Turn Your Follow-Up into Millions. It'll be with me, Stasek Jay Kinder. It's going to be a master class from 8:30 to 12:30. We're going to go into a lot of things at a deeper level. Okay. And what we're going to do as part of we're going to go deeper into conversion, really how to convert people, which will be closing. We're going to go deeper into the scripts. We're going to be deeper into how to open a conversation, how to follow up the actual 7 touches, scenario, role playing. We're going to go deeper into that on the 24th. Also, we're going to include, for every person that takes action today, we're going to give them a copy of the book, $1 Million Follow-Up. There it is right there with me and Jay and Al. That'll be coming out. Okay. We're going to give every person a copy of my new book called Flip the Switch, which is my new book that we're going to make a Wall Street Journal bestseller. Okay. We're going to be giving you that. We're going to be giving you a replay of 4 hours of me breaking down how to map out your year, called Visioneering. Okay. 4 hours of the replay of that, called Visioneering. Jay and I are also going to throw in a clarity report, which is a business planning tool. And then I'm actually going to give you 90 days of Pray Drive calls every Wednesday for the next 90 days on how to activate your Pray Drive. Okay. And we're going to do all of that for $97. Okay. So we're giving you 2 books, 1 4-hour training in person where we break all this stuff down. We're giving you 4 hours of replay on Visioneering. We're giving you a clarity report, business planning tool. Plus, we're giving you 90 days of calls with me on Wednesday. And we're doing that all for literally just $97. And so what I want to do is I want to post that link in the chat box. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. When I get off these sessions, guys, what I do is I literally pick up the phone just from the stimulus of these sessions. And man, I just start following up with people who are in my red zone. I just start following up with people who are in my farm club. I just start initiating. Shoot, I've been following up with Mike Sims. Why? Ask Mike Sims. I've been texting Mike Sims. Why? I've been on the call with you guys trying to coach him. Cody Brown, I've been following up with her to get her into something. So it's like just the stimulus of this is really, it's good for me. I hope it's good for everybody here. I don't know why every person on here wouldn't take action on that. 2 books, $1 Million Follow-Up for real. That's a hard copy, folks. We're going to ship you that book. We're going to ship you a copy of my book, Flip the Switch. Okay. We're going to give you 4-hour masterclass on Visioneering, 4-hour masterclass live on the 24th. We're going to give you all of these things, man, when you take action on this for $97. And we think it's going to be well worth a whole lot more than $97. So if you're in, just type in the chat box, I'm in, I'm taking action. Okay. Ride on the jet would cost you a little bit more than 97, but it's a good start. It's a good start, right? It's a good start. So if you're in, I just want to speak.
I wanted to circle back with some of these things. Now, I showed this to Jay. We had our huddle yesterday, and I broke this out. It says turning point document, but this is actually my first clarity report that I filled out in 2010. Jay gave it to me. It was my homework after one of my coaching calls. I keep it to this day. I travel everywhere with it. As you can see, it's beat. It looks like my dog chewed it. I promise you, Snoop did not do this. This is just from dragging it from city to city. And the reason I say that is because the things that we're offering everybody on this call all go hand in hand together. In order for that prey drive to remain at a highest level every single day for me, this is before I even knew anything about the concept of prey drive. I had to have my vision right. My vision, the vision is what got me up early and kept me up late. My vision is what got me on airplanes to fly to Dallas when I didn't know anybody, to learn how to grow my business, because I knew there was a better way. And I knew that by doing it the way I was doing, it was going to take me way longer to achieve where I needed to go. So this is something that I swear by. Everyone that knows me, the clarity report is something that I suggest that everybody do. Someone asked, is this real estate related? Somewhat, but these are principles that I believe transcend into any industry when it comes to the principles behind follow-up. This rides right into the Prey Drive book that Coach wrote. It's an amazing book that you're going to be able to just keep that sharpness, that drive. And why that moves into follow-up is because you need the Prey Drive at an absolute high to get up and crush it every single day, however many days that you work and decide to follow up. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6, all depends on where you're at in your career. But that Prey Drive drives your ability to get up and follow up like a boss, get in there and get your at-bats and really decide to go pro. It's those 3 things in those 3 order. I think it's the best Christmas gift we could give away, Coach.
Yeah, I think I really do. And I agree with you, man. Prey Drive and follow-up. Prey Drive is follow-up. Prey Drive is initiative, which is what you need to really do something big. And what we try to do is put together a package here where the value far exceeds the investment. And we want you to start the new year off right, man. And I think just a 4-hour, I know someone asked, the 4 hours is completely live. So it'll be like this. Today, we kind of taught at the 30,000 feet level, but on that day, we'll get into some role play. We'll get into some scripting. I'll get into 7 conversions. I'd like to personally hear more about Jay going through that discovery, because I feel like I could do a lot better discovery. My salespeople could do better in discovery based on what Jay was teaching today. And, so I really think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to propel you. It's going to kick you off. It's going to get you going. We expect to have a lot of people on this, not just from today, but from people who see us. So we would love to have everybody on here, man. We want to get behind. Imagine us 3 behind you, kicking off your new year, really activating that drive and then teaching you to follow up. Jay, what's your thoughts on it? Yeah, man. I mean, it's obviously it's $97. It's a no brainer. I think everybody kind of gets that, but this has been the secret to my success. It's been getting in the rooms with the right people that can help me improve my skills and get to that next level. And so, there's never a time that I've made an investment in myself that it didn't pay back tenfold. Like, it's always been the way that I've found success is by getting in the rooms with the right people. And this is definitely the right people. Yeah, I want to see if Rob K, are you in? I want you to take the $97. You've been active today. I've enjoyed your banner. So yeah. So jump in there, man. We'll see if it's worth $97, but I think it's going to be great, guys. This has been fun. I don't know. We want to keep a time schedule here. Is there anybody that has any questions? We will take maybe 2 or 3 questions. Just here before we close it out today, because we want to be respectful of everyone's time. So keep it to follow up. Keep it to something that we've talked about today, and we'd be happy to answer that. Cody Brown, start us off.
I apologize. It's not about that. Is this open to the public? Can we share this with not only our organizations, but with other fellow agents?
Yes, you can share with everybody. 100%. We're open for business.
That was actually what I was going to say too, Cody, is that if anyone's on here that owns a brokerage or owns a team and you have team members, this is a great opportunity. Leverage us to coach your team up. I used to try to provide the highest level of coaching to my team and my broker, the agents that were part of my brokerage forever. And the fact is they listen to other people better than they listen to me. And so I would take advantage of every opportunity to get them in front of other coaches, other professionals. They listen to them differently, and they would actually they'd come away and be like, oh my gosh, I just had this great idea I got from the webinar. And I'd be like, man, I've been telling you that for 5 months. And they just hear it differently. So get your agents from your brokerage in, get your team members in, and watch their numbers go up with their production.
Be a great stimulus. All right, Jacqueline, I think I saw a question from you. Okay, maybe I thought I saw her. Anybody else want to ask any questions before we go? I see Darren Mancuso. He's been at the lodge with me before. Angela Baker, I'm doing a big event for her in Virginia coming up. These are people who are taking action, man. Little honey badgers out there taking action. That's what I like to see. Scrappy little prey drive folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if no other questions, guys, thank you, Paul Carney, for taking action. All you guys who took action today, thank you. Jay Kinder, Al Stasek. There will be a replay of this. Plus, if you purchase the January 24th masterclass, there'll be a replay too if you can't watch it. Folks, it's 4 hours. It's going to stimulate you. Take action on it. Get your teams on it. Get your friends on it. Get your cousins on it. Get your kids on it. Get everybody on it, okay? Because it will, trust me, it will really be good for you there at the beginning of the year. So Jay, Al, thank you for a great hour and a half. I learned a lot. I know these folks learned a lot. People on our Facebook learned a lot. So we look forward to seeing you guys on the 24th of January, 4-hour masterclass. Plus, get your books, all the other benefits that we threw in for you today.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody. Appreciate you spending time with us today. We'll see you at the top.